The sixth element practice is about contemplating how earth, water, fire, air, space and consciousness coexist in an ever-changing process of transformation rather than a static thing, rather than a solid thing. Let's take a look at the elements, both in our bodies and our planet. The space element. Inside our bodies, the space element is represented by the orifices of the body and by the spatial separation of the organs, which instead of forming a solid mass, are distinct and separate from each other. In our planet, the space element is represented by the sky, which holds the earth and all of us. The earth element, represented by the solid matter in our bodies, such as flesh and bones, and represented in our planet by mountains, valleys, plains, and dust. Water element, represented by the fluids in our body, such as blood, saliva, urine, and by the oceans, lakes, rivers, and the rain in our planet. The fire element, represented by the biological warmth of the body and the warmth of the sun that keeps the earth and all of us alive. Hopefully for a long time. The wind element, represented by the breath in our bodies and in our planet is represented by the wind. Undefiled consciousness. This is the consciousness that permeates throughout the whole universe and cannot be defiled. Undefiled consciousness contains all of the other elements. Buddha nature consciousness cannot be defiled. Every one of us and everything else is endowed with it. Everything. Flowers, trees, tables, floor, carpet, ceiling, lamps, light, artificial, natural. There is nothing that doesn't permeate. That is not permeated by undefiled Buddha consciousness. But it can get obscured. It can get obscured and clouded by the state of mind known as ignorance. So let's take a look at ignorance. Ignorance. The state of ignorance is based on a dualistic consciousness. Ignorance is the belief in a self, which we all develop from birth, that thinks of itself as separate from others. Out of ignorance of our true self, we cling to an I and make a distinct separation of I and others. Out of ignorance, 4 poisons constantly sprout, creating more poison, creating more poisonous seeds that will continue sprouting and spreading the poison. These 4 poisons that spread out of ignorance are anger, jealousy and envy, pride and arrogance, and attachment. Ignorance is a state of darkness. Through practice, the darkness of ignorance lightens up, and we have glimpses of our own Buddha nature consciousness or undefiled consciousness. When the state of ignorance is overcome, then there remains only consciousness, bright and pure. Bright and undefiled. This the Buddha says in the Pali Canon, that there remains only consciousness, bright and undefined. Buddha consciousness contains all of the other elements. Buddha nature consciousness is represented by Vairochana Buddha. We often chant the name of Vairochana Buddha. Since Vairochana Buddha has completely transformed the darkness of ignorance, his color is white. Vairochana Buddha is a celestial Buddha. It's not a historical Buddha, it's a celestial Buddha who represents the body of light of Shakyamuni Buddha. So Vairochana Buddha is the body of bliss of Shakyamuni Buddha. It's the celestial aspect of Shakyamuni Buddha. And we all have that aspect too. Vairochana Buddha is the primordial or supreme Buddha. He appears many times in the Vatamsaka Sutra, and all of the other celestial Buddhas that represent the transformation of the poisons into the four wisdoms are emanations of the Buddha Vairochana. You might ask, how is this possible that out of one emanate four, or sometimes hundreds? Well, this is only possible when ignorance has been overcome completely, and the separation of I and other has been completely healed, to the point that this separation doesn't remain in the mind, not even as a remote memory, not even as a memory. It's so healed that there is nothing outside of self, outside of it. So the memory of I and other is gone. It's not there anymore. Not even a thought of separation, not even a memory, a past memory, a distant memory of separation is the realization of no self. It's the manifestation of no self. It's more than the realization, it's the manifestation of no self. It's the actualization of no self. And this is the undefiled consciousness. So this undefiled consciousness is represented by Vairochana Buddha, the body of light of Shakyamuni Buddha. So out of this no-self Vairochana Buddha, four celestial Buddhas come forward to help us in our transformation. So now I'm going to go and review the four poisons and but also the four wisdom. Each poison had the virtue to be able to be transformed into the realization of one of these four celestial Buddhas. And we all can do that. We are all endowed with that power of transformation. Anger. We all know a lot about anger. I even thought myself that was part of teaching. That was a long time ago. Suffer a lot because of that. And I realized that it's not possible to teach using anger. Anger is an emotion which arises and develops against someone or something one dislikes. Anger causes temporary suffering for oneself and others. This emotion is so powerful that Buddhist believes wishing harm to others can lead one to take rebirth in the lower realms. When anger is purified and transformed, we come to develop and to gradually realize mirror-like wisdom. Mirror-like wisdom.